Well, it doesn't look like a whole lot, but progress has been made, a little bit anyway. Over the weekend we went ahead and aired up the tires here and got this thing rolled forward up to the door so that we're all ready. Once we're all ready, we can push it out and get it out of here. Still got the New Mexico plates on it from '94. Yeah, right there in the corner, '94. But we got that moved a little bit. First time it's moved in probably 8 years, and went ahead and cleaned off some of the stuff on top. I have to adjust that trunk, but we were able to open the trunk and see all the extra goodies we got back here. Looks like we got extra tail light, a couple of headlight bezels there, extra dash with speedometer and everything. Got the front grille. Don't have the extensions on for this one, but they're on the other car, so that'll be fine. Got the little pieces for the trunk and the hood, and 4 fender skirts for it. Also got, I believe, an AC unit in there. I don't think that's from this car. I think that's from somewhere else. But got all that fancy stuff in the trunk, and also took off the crap that was on top of it here. Another dash, air filter, all that good stuff. There's a starter under there somewhere. And the carburetor, that's been sitting on top of the car for all of 8 years or whatever, so we'll see what that thing does when I'm ready to fire it up. But let's go look at the engine and see what we've got done there. Alright, we've got a little bit done to the engine here. You can see we've got the plug wires on. Hopefully in the right order. Should be, anyway. Got the coil mounted and wired in and everything. And I went ahead and I dug through my belts there. Everybody kind of laughed at me when I save all these old belts, but they come in handy from time to time. So I found a small one that will fit between the water pump and the crank, so I don't have to run the power steering pulley. I can just run these two when I'm running it. So this thing's pretty much ready to go, I think. I'm not going to use this fuel pump. I'm pretty sure it leaked last time we had it running, so I'll just put an electric one on there for testing, and then probably fix that up at a later date. But pretty much engine should be pretty much ready to go. And onto the transmission. We went ahead and I cleaned out that pan, got all the crap out of there, and put a new filter in it, and put a new pan gasket on it, put it back up. And before I do anything more to it, I want to put some fluid in it, get it fired up, and just see what it's going to do, if it's going to work at all. No point in starting to dig in it to replace stuff and then try it and it don't work, and then I have to dig into it again. So we're just going to fill it with fluid and see what it does. I've got the transmission lines looped around, and I also picked up a set of exhaust pipes for a '59 Cadillac, so we can bolt them onto that engine when we're running it on the ground and kind of get the exhaust out of the way. Bonus, when I'm ready to bring that other car in, I can put these on the other car, because that one's got these lips here completely rusted out, so I figure I can just bolt these up and have an exhaust on that car. So I think where we're at now is picking that engine up, getting it on the cherry picker, and then hooking it to the transmission and getting it ready to run. Alright, we're just about ready to pull this engine off the stand here. There we go. And kind of had a little chuckle to myself, imagining how many people in the comments are going to tell me I need to pressure wash this thing. And about all I can do is laugh at that, because I'm in Minnesota, and it's a warm day today. It's about 20 degrees, but I won't be pressure washing anything, that's for sure. You know, I don't live in the south, where if it gets to 45 degrees, people freak out and tell you to dress in layers, close schools and all that crap. So yeah, I don't have the luxury of a pressure washer in the middle of winter. Maybe if I was doing this in the summertime, but not really that big of a deal. The goal with this for right now is just to get it in the car and running. So if I can do that with the transmission that I have without having to go in it and rebuild it and all that crap, I'll do it. If it turns out I got to rebuild it, then I got to rebuild it. But we're going to try this anyway. Quality tools. I think this was one of them $4 ratchet sets. Yeah, sure feels like it was. There, let it run. No, that's alright, now I can lower this down and slide it over to the transmission and get that bolted up, hopefully. Alright, I've got the engine and transmission kind of in place. I haven't got them bolted up yet though. It'll probably take some wiggling to get everything aligned. I think I'll probably have to take this draft tube out of the way, make it a little bit easier, but I'll get those things bolted together and we'll be well on our way. Alright, over the last week or so I've been kind of slowly piecing this thing together when I've had some time, and it's pretty much ready to go. I got the engine and transmission bolted together. I've got the starter on down there, put an exhaust on it. I've got the carburetor all on and hooked up. This carburetor is kind of sketchy. It was sitting on top of the car for 8 years, so probably going to need to be gone through, but hopefully it'll run for these tests at least. I've also got a electric fuel pump hooked up for two reasons. One, if I remember right, that original one leaked, if I remember right, so it needs to be rebuilt. And two, with an electric fuel pump I can prime the fuel system without having to crank the engine, so I should be able to fill up that carb and get it to fire pretty quickly, hopefully. So got that on there, put a radiator on it. I don't have any fluid in it now. I kind of want to dry fire it, make sure it's going to work, and then I'll put some coolant in it and run it longer to get fluid all through the transmission there and get some of that old fluid cleared out. So I think where we're at now is I'll put a fuel line on it and get a gas can so it's got some fuel. I'll prime that up and grab a battery and see if we can start this thing. Alright, I've primed up the fuel system with the fuel pump there, and it looks like there is a problem. Fuel is dumping in the intake, I can see, so should be plenty primed up. I'm going to go ahead and try to fire it here and see if it's going to work, but I'm going to leave the fuel pump off because I don't want too much gas getting in there. So let's see what happens when I try to fire it up. Well, it definitely runs. I think now that I know it runs, I'm going to go ahead and put some coolant in it, and we'll see if we can run it for a little bit longer. Well, that wasn't too bad of a first start for sitting for 8 years. The carburetor does have a little bit of a leak, but I kind of figured as much. You can see the accelerator pump boot there is pretty chewed up. Went ahead and I put coolant in it, and it looks like the water pump's dripping a little bit. Not real surprising, but I've got coolant in it. Let's go ahead and fire it up and see if we can't run it for a little bit longer this time. pretty good. I mean, it idled a little bit high, but it was still cold, and I haven't really tinkered with it. Looks like the carburetor's not leaking quite as bad anymore. That's a good sign. The water pump, however, is leaking like a sieve, so I'm going to need to replace that. But overall, the transmission seemed to work. It shifted into what seemed like all the gears. Obviously, I won't know if it's really good or not until I put it in the car and put it under load, but it seemed to move. Reversed worked and everything, so I'll probably end up running this thing for a little bit longer and running it through all the gears and just make sure all that fluid is the old fluid is out and everything. But so far so good. I think that was a good little test.